You're listening to the Prospector Podcast. Hi, and welcome to the Prospector Podcast. I'm Andrew. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, please add this to your podcast library, and if you're on YouTube, hit that like button and subscribe if you so desire. So, if you didn't catch in one of my recent videos on another gold prospector on YouTube, the interview with Geology is on hold for now. He's unfortunately had a family situation overseas to deal with, and of course that is top priority. So we have postponed until a later date. I just want to wish him well while he's dealing with that too. Nevertheless, I have a cracking episode in store for you anyway. So sit back and get your dose of prospecting audio. Let's get into it. Let's start with research tips and tricks to help you find gold. Know your geology. Understanding the geology in your prospecting area is crucial. Now, I'm not saying you need to become a geologist, but a basic understanding of what's in front of you can make or break the amount of gold you find. I know it can be hard to not look at the ground directly under your feet, either on the creek or swinging the detector, but if you take the time to understand the ground that you're working, you have a far better starting point. You need to know what quartz, ironstone, slate, granite are and what they look like, seeing the slight gullies and runoffs, and of course the clues left behind by the old-timers. Look, it all sounds like simple things, but they can be easily overlooked. Geology is a very important part of successful prospecting. Make sure it is part of your toolkit. Next up, let's do the gold hotspot this week. We're going to hit Heathcote, Victoria. Pretty well-known area. Discovery and rush. It was the Heathcote gold rush that began in 1852 when gold was discovered in McIver Creek. Within 6 months, an estimated 40,000 miners had flocked to the area, transforming the landscape overnight. Early prospectors used panning and sluicing techniques. As the easy pickings were exhausted, more advanced methods were employed. In the 1870s and 1880s, hydraulic sluicing became popular, with pioneers and pretty much the inventor of hydraulic sluicing, James Headley, leading the charge. Gold production, while exact figures are hard to come by, we know that some impressive nuggets were found in the area. According to some reports, nuggets weighing up to 658 ounces were discovered in McIver Creek and the surrounding gullies. Some other areas of note were Long Gully, now the site of Headley's Dam, Red Hill, Axedale, Redcliffe, and of course the Pink Cliffs Geology Reserve in Heathcote, the former hydraulic sluicing site. By 1887, sludge in the creek became a significant problem, leading to formation of the Sludge Inquiry Board. How'd you be telling your mates at the pub, you're the head of the Sludge Inquiry Board? Not bad. In 1890, the Heathcote Sluicing Company's mining lease was not renewed due to environmental concerns. This was a major problem in mining shafts, with all shafts flooding beyond the capabilities of pumps of the time. Many attempts were made to extract the very rich leads in Heathcote, but most failed due to the water and the sludge. There's some areas you can prospect around Heathcote. I'm not going to go into details because there are also a lot that are off limits. So make sure you check Earth Resource website and parks before you go to Heathcote. Great area. Surrounding areas are also great, but little town just before Heathcote, definitely worth a look as well. I'll let you look into that yourselves. Now, let's move on to this week's shout out, a prospector content creator. So when it comes to a community-minded, genuine human, there's only one name that pops to the top of the list, and that's Gadsy, the buckshot prospector. I'm pretty certain you all know Gadsy and how good his content is, along with his driving a strong prospecting community attitude. So if you haven't, go to his channel, sub, and give him a like, do all those things on YouTube. And look, while you're at it, go and join PanHub as well on Facebook. But big shout out to Gadsy. Now, I don't actually have a prospector etiquette this week. So you don't have to listen to me rant. So what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about the recent nugget I found panning in a Melbourne creek. If you want to see the moment I find the 3.3 gram chunk, the link is in the description below. I just want to add a few things to the whole discovery now I've been back and made sure that there's only one in there. No, joking. Just a few things to keep in the back of your mind. The spot where I found the nugget would have been walked over by hundreds of people, literally. There were 3 to 4 big crevices nearby that people were definitely drawn to. The one that it was in was only visible once I moved the larger rocks that were sitting on top, that had obviously fallen out of the flow. That's why I looked there. The first pan of material I got, it was 0 gold, 2 lead shot. But I kept digging. The now empty and bait pump cleaned crevice, and the second pan, I got 1 small flake, 3 lead shot, and a steel spike. I thought, geez, that was disappointing. At the same time, I was slightly baffled. All the signs were there. It was super hard packed, etc., etc. So I scratched my head a bit and I picked up my classifier. I was about to toss the oversize into the hole and I thought, no, I better have a look. I gave it a shake, pushed and tapped the top rocks to the side. And the shape at first, that's the first thing I saw was the shape. I didn't think gold because it was tannin stained and had ironstone inclusions on it. And then I was like, it's not a normal rock. And it wasn't until I picked it up till I realised what it was. Anyways, moral of the story is always check your classifier and your oversize. And always get to the bottom before you give up. A 3.3 gram nugget in the goldfields around Melbourne is an incredibly rare find. And I'm extremely lucky to have found it. It's my biggest single bit of gold found in my local area. And I know it's not big for golden triangle standards, but it's a moment I will never forget. I couldn't calculate the hours I've put in, not only prospecting, but researching hours would be double the time that I've put in on the ground digging. But if you put in the time, you can be rewarded too. It just goes to show you. Don't give up. You keep looking in the right places, keep bettering yourself. It's going to happen. I know it's only 3.3 grams, but where I got it, it crazy. Anyway, looking ahead, guys, I do have some guests lined up, so stay tuned for that. That's all I've got for you this week. Nice short episode for you because we obviously had other plans that we've had to change, which is fine. I've got no problems with it. Been in contact with Geology. Everything's good, and we will move ahead when possible. So feel free to drop your questions still. I will still be collecting them. I've already got the ones that have been posted up and in a list ready to ask him when he returns. And feel free to hit up any questions. I will add them to the list and get them done. Anyway, till next time, thanks for listening and talk soon.